With the sets and all the minifigures built and ready for placement in the previous episode, I started working on a diorama by first building up the terrain. The final size of this diorama will be 12 48 by 48 grey base plates, but for now we will start with 6. My aim for this episode was to build it up to the point where I could place the sets. But it took over a week of building to reach the point where I could place the castle, since quite a few revisions was needed to make it all work with all the different elevations, so I'll be placing the town square in the next episode instead. I started by marking out the position of the town square, since there will be a river behind, and I needed to know how much room I will have for this river. The river system here will be quite elaborate, with a total of 3 waterfalls, since I wanted to create a defensible position for the castle by framing it with the rivers and the sea. But the rivers will be quite straight since this is an inner town setting. The landscape here will have an engineered feel to it. As we progress, you will notice some changes to the build after each segment. These are some of the revisions I was talking about. As usual, I do very little planning and just build things by trial and error. This little nook will be the position of a medium-sized waterfall, but before I can build it, I have to build the upper river first. After that, I can link the two here at the waterfall. Now we can link the 2 river pathways with this waterfall. I wanted to give this town a bit of the Rivendell vibes, with a stone arch bridge crossing over a waterfall. This column will support that bridge. You may have noticed that the color of the plates on the upper levels have changed to medium nougat. After some experimenting, I think the green landscape of the Lion Knight's castle looks better contrasting with the medium nougat compared to dark tan. Going with the engineered landscape look, I built a stone battlement for this shorter cliff as an inner town defensive position. There will be a larger outer wall for this town as well. I'm aiming to give this town the layered defense look with the battlements and the river pathways. A bridge to cross the river in front of this battlement will come in a later episode. For the taller cliff, I built rock panels using wedge plates and wedge slopes. They are connected down with snot bricks at the base. The Lion Knight's castle had dark bluish grey rockwork, so I mixed that with the damp looking dark tan and olive green for all the rockwork throughout this diorama. This taller mountain will be the location of the castle. I wanted to give it the rough and rocky look, which is an ideal location for a castle. To avoid giving the mountain a squared look, I built a corner section for the rock panels. It is connected down with snot bricks at the base as well. This corner section of the mountain will be the location for a large waterfall that I will build in a later episode. The final cliff to build is between the 2 elevations. I decided to use regular rock panels here since it has quite a small difference in elevation. Again, there will be another smaller waterfall here, but I will build that in a later episode since at this point I've been building for nearly a week now. The castle had water plates surrounding it, so I created a natural reservoir at the top level where the castle will sit. I imagine this to be part of a series of taller mountains funneling water down to this plateau, creating this reservoir before discharging it into the rivers and the sea. I went with trans light blue here and at the rivers, giving this diorama the bright and uplifting feel to suit the castle's green landscaping. Before placing the castle, I had to swap out some of the water plates, since medium azure plates on top of trans light blue tiles would look a bit strange. With the castle placed, I worked on the surrounding terrain and a path towards the lower ground. The rocky terrain contrasts with the neat looking greens, but I think it's more realistic to have a castle on a defensible rocky terrain rather than a flat terrain. We will just have to imagine that the queen ordered some rocks to be cleared for her gardens. For the bridge, I used regular arch pieces instead of a more complicated technique, since the positioning and the elevation change is already quite complicated. But I gave it more depth with a double layered arch and some plant vine details, as well as the slightly weathered look. But I didn't want to overdo it since the castle is really clean looking. It's a clear day at Lionsguard, the capital of the Lion Knight's kingdom. The guards are keeping a watchful eye from the tallest tower in town. King Leo is out enjoying the pleasant weather on his steed, escorted by the king's guard. Below, the men are kept in top form with routine training and exercises, overseen by the master at arms. The captain of the guards as well as the Earl Marshal have stopped by to inspect the training regiment and the readiness of the troops. On this day, all is well here at Lionsguard. As mentioned, I aim to have the town square placed next episode, as well as more terrain work and possibly build a port. This area where the soldiers are training is an event space, and the scene here will change as the series progresses. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.